Hello everyone, welcome in. It's Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's our final regular season show here on the ATP Tour show. And this is the two tournaments we have this week, one in Athens and one in Metz. So one in Greece and one in France. If you want to follow all the action in Athens, you can follow me on our social media app Because We Win. I'll be over there from Monday. But before we do that, we're delving into the tournaments. Now, both of these tournaments actually started already, so it's not really an ideal start for us. But we're going to cover you. We're going to give you the best leans. We'll give you the best first round bets, and the best man to do it is our senior ATP Tour handicapper, is Sean Calvert. Good afternoon to you, Sean. How are you, mate?
I'm all right, thanks. Yeah, considering, all things considered, not bad. Legan's football match was rained off, so I didn't have to stand in the rain.
That's a result.
Yeah, it's not a bad result. So I didn't have to stand in the rain for a few hours. The dog is doing my head in, obviously. That we've still got that little puppy. If you want to call it a puppy, it's about 20 kilos worth of puppy. Until Sunday, that's causing me a lot of problems. That is, I almost wish I was back in Paris at some stage.
No,
almost.
No. Your review of Paris was almost as bad as my review of Rotterdam. You can't be going back there.
I would say they're about the same. Paris and Rotterdam, two places hopefully I will never have to go again. Unless it's the summer. You know, I always moan about Paris, but I always have to go. Well, I don't have to, but I always go end of October when it's like cold, wet, dreary, miserable. I'm sure it's very nice at other times of the year, but yeah, not for me. Other than that, I think I'm all right. Yeah.
Well, you know what? You've made me feel a little bit better after your little rant there. But anyway, we are at the final stage of the season, so now we got these two tournaments. A new tournament in Athens. We don't really know much about the tournament in Athens, and you know what? I've absolutely come in here straight off like a whim. I've got no idea of what's going on.
I know stuff.
I've literally logged. So I need you to help me. This is the first time I'm actually calling it. Sean, you need to guide me through this thing.
Okay.
Because I've been out all morning, got a lot of busy day, and we're going to go into it. Anyway, let's go on to this tournament. Where are we going to start? In Athens, in Greece.
Athens, yeah.
Now, this is the first time it's ever been involved. We've got no idea what's going on here. We've got no idea of the court. We've got no idea of anything about it.
I know.
How do you know this?
I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay, well, over to you, Mr. Calvert.
Okay, so this tournament, I would have been going to this tournament actually had they said, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months ago that they were moving Belgrade to Athens. But obviously they don't do that on the ATP tour. They just leave it to the last minute and go, oh, by the way, Giron is cancelled. It's moving to Belgrade. Oh, we're now moving Belgrade to Athens. So didn't know it was happening, but it's operating under the same license as the Belgrade tournament, organised by the same people, which is basically Novak Djokovic's crew. His brother is the tournament director. It's played at the Telecom Centre, as you'll find out tomorrow, which is a 20,000 capacity arena. It's played on a DecoTurf indoor hard court. Now, I have a friend there who's there right now, who I've been to several tournaments with over the years, and that guy knows a lot about tennis.
What's his name? Who is he?
His name's Nick. He's.
Why have you ever introduced me to Nick? Or we've been doing this for 3 years. Why has Nick ever not met me?
Because the tournaments I've been with him at, one of them was Naples, if you remember that farce of a tournament that I went to in Naples right at the start. Obviously, you weren't there. He was also with me in Marrakesh for a little while as well. So he's been to some of the tournaments that you haven't been to. That's why. I could take it from me. He knows a lot about tennis betting. He goes back way, way, way back, a long, long time. So he knows his stuff. He certainly does. I certainly trust him on that. And he said it's pretty quick and low bouncing, quite slick. That would tally with what I've heard from one or two other people as well. So given that we know that, I'd say we know more about Athens than we do about Paris, because Paris, previously quick, then he went super slow without anybody knowing about it. Now we've got a person on the ground there that I trust that is more than capable of picking conditions. So it's quick, low bounce, and they're using the Dunlop ATP ball, which is the same ball they use in a lot of these tournaments. They used it in Belgrade last year. They used it in Brussels, the Basel. It's quicker than those terrible head ones that they used, the beach ball ones that they used in Paris, which is still going on at the minute. So yeah, those are the conditions. We do know a little bit more about it than people perhaps might expect.
So there's clearly no trends. We know the conditions, but really, when you look at the draw, it's very hard to find the players who can adapt to the conditions. I mean, they're not really like full of players that quick service. Obviously, we've got Novak Djokovic here. He's going to play. How fit he's going to be. Whether he uses a warm-up tournament for Turin, I don't know.
Probably.
Whether he plays in Turin, we don't know. But if you look at the draw, the number 1 seed is Novak Djokovic. He will play Nakashima in the quarterfinals. He's number 4 seed. Darderi is the number 3 seed, and Lorenzo Musetti is the number 2 seed. So these quick conditions don't really suit anybody in that draw, really, I suppose, apart from the number 1 seed, Novak Djokovic. And he's a heavy favourite at Bet Rivers. So, I mean, where are we going here? I mean, you've got even some of the unseeded players. I mean, or the players who are outside the top 4 in the seeds. They don't look players that can play in these conditions.
There's a few scenarios here as well, isn't there, that we should point out. The main one being Musetti against Felix. Now, Felix is playing at the minute against Sinner. He's already 2-0 down. Let's assume Felix loses that Paris final, which is pretty likely to happen. Then Musetti has to better Felix's result. Felix is playing in Metz. Musetti's playing here. By my reckoning, Felix just has to make the semi-finals in Metz to take that final spot. Therefore, that brings in a few other scenarios. Felix probably making the semi-finals and then not playing the semi-finals in Metz. That's highly likely. Musetti, if it turns out he can't qualify, he might well withdraw. He probably will withdraw, or put in a very lame effort if that's the case. So there's that scenario. You've also got the scenario where this is basically Novak Djokovic's tournament. As I said, his brother's the tournament director. Is he going to be using this, as you said, as preparation for the tour finals? Let's assume that he is. That seems the most likely. You know, at his age, he surely won't want to be going the full distance here. Even if it is basically his tournament, he's not going to want to go, play 12 sets here this week and then go to Turin at his age. I mean, we've seen what he's like when he's played back-to-back matches. So you wouldn't have thought that would happen. The question is, who do you actually take to beat Musetti, Djokovic, whatever? The third one's Nakashima, who, interestingly, the guy who Nico I was just talking about, he's already taken a selfie with Nakashima and sent it to me this morning. So, that's just an aside. Shows he's there, at least. Nakashima's normally pretty awful at the end of the season, normally sort of fades away, has shown signs of that in recent weeks. Korda wasn't fit last week at all. I'm just going down the left-hand column here. Korda had some sort of leg problem last week. Hasn't been able to finish a tournament in a very long time. Alexandra Muller has been struggling with injury for the sort of last 6 months. Managed to get rid of that injury in time for Paris. Played pretty well. Was quite unlucky to lose to Felix there. He's a possibility, but not a guy you would really fancy on super quick surfaces. Same you could say about Darderi, similar about Borges. Popyrin looked done last week. And then you're into Apelka. He's injured, got a shoulder problem. So who do you fancy? I mean, I don't know is the answer. The top half is really difficult. I think you've got to take probably either Nakashima or Marcos Giron. We'll talk about in a minute, but not Giron not in great form either. Nakashima, I just don't trust him. So I would take one in the bottom half. I just think that top half is Djokovic's to win if he feels like it, or if he's if that's his idea of this week. The bottom half I think is a lot more interesting. I'm taking a 50-1 shot here.
And who is that?
Okay, I just wondered if you wanted to,
Well, no. I think that there's a lot of things I look at about in tournaments like this. Right, it's the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Motivation for players is minimal. Novak Djokovic's brother runs a tournament. He wants to get into fitness, and I know you never bet favourites in tournaments like this, but Novak Djokovic at plus 140 in a field like this, to me. What if he fancied it? It'd be minus $3 in a tournament like this. So, I look at it from a different perspective. I think if Novak Djokovic is involved, his brother wants to be involved, and I think from a trading perspective, I'll be betting Novak Djokovic at plus 140, and I would pretty much guarantee at some stage of the tournament he's got a bye to the last 16. He'll play Walton or Tibilones in the quarterfinals. He'll play Borges. I can't see him not getting the semi-finals. And I think in the semi-finals he might be minus 175. So from my view, I'll be betting Novak Djokovic and I'll be trading him out of him at like a -$2 favourite.
Yeah, I think that's.
But obviously, you come in from a different logic. You're trying to get someone into the final. But, for me, Djokovic in a field like this at +140, when he's starting majors at +140, I think he's a bet.
I think it's right what you're saying, the trading element. I think that's a decent approach, because it may well be the case that in the final he's had enough and he's done what he needs to do, which is get the tournament, get ticket sales done, get everyone coming to see Novak Djokovic. He doesn't need to win this tournament. I'm sure he would probably want to, but if he's feeling any sort of little tweaks or whatever, he's not. You wouldn't have thought he's going to go the extra mile with the tour finals. A day or two later, you wouldn't have thought that would be the case. So trading out is probably the best option if you're looking to bet in that top half. Yeah, the bottom half, I'm taking a 50-1 shot here, and that man is Kamil Majchrzak. I was kind of toying between Jacob Fernley and Majchrzak. I've just come down on the side of Majchrzak. Fernley's just a little bit inconsistent. Fernley's been playing very well, beat Griekspoor impressively. He was very, very close to beating Zverev in recent weeks, but then he lost to, once he'd beaten Griekspoor, he lost to Elias Ymer, and he had an issue with his contact lenses or something like that, and he put in a very disappointing display. Consistency is his problem. I feel like Majchrzak has got the motivation here. He's still very, very keen to win a first tour level title after the ban that he had, which he thought was extremely unjust, and he is super motivated by that. The conditions, I think, will suit him. Slick, decent pace. He's a round 4 at Wimbledon guy this year. Should have beaten Ben Shelton in Basel. Missed that volley on match point that I would have been disappointed to miss. Lost a tight 1-1/4 in Stockholm. So the form is there. I'll talk about him again in a minute. If he beats Kecmanovic in round 1 and Musetti can't qualify for Turin, which does seem pretty likely, there's not a whole lot in that bottom half of real quality. Darderi you wouldn't fancy in these conditions. Who else is there? Muller, Echeverry, Popyrin and Korda, they're playing each other. Korda, as I said, I'm not convinced that he can finish a tournament these days, or certainly not at the moment. So I think we could get a decent price one into the final in the bottom half. Fernley was one option, and I think that the slightly better one is Majchrzak at 50s.
Yeah, I think that's definitely where to play. Each way value in the bottom half of the door. Majchrzak at 50, not in the graphic. Fernley as well at 35-1, but Majchrzak at 50-1 seems the way to play. But I do honestly believe that +140 Novak Djokovic in a field like this is the best trading opportunity you will have probably on the year. I mean, what would he be? It'd be -220. We've seen Novak. We've seen him start these events like 250 events at like -$3. He's +140. It's a great opportunity, and I think you will definitely be able to trade out of it. See how he goes, but if he fancies it, I think he'll breeze through. Okay, let's move on to some matches. The most important thing about the show is the matches, and we got 3 matches tomorrow, and I believe the action starts quite early tomorrow on Bet Rivers. I'll give you the time the action starts. But the first match is Stanislas Wawrinka against Botic van der Zandschulp. Now, our standard bet whenever Stanislas Wawrinka comes on is the first set winner. We always go for big old Stan.
Correct.
At his age to get the first set. Are we going again?
Let's move on.
We ending the show. We ending the show on the same. +155 on the money line. -195. Spread 2.5. Total 22 and 2.5. But I'm telling you what now. I think I've called the bet.
Yeah, you have. I mean, Stan he just loves playing this game. He just loves playing it. And he's got a wild card here. These wild cards aren't going to carry on forever. He's got to stop at some point. He's just not going to keep getting them. But he just loves playing. He's played a challenger last week. He just loves playing this game. Does Van der Zandschulp love playing this game? Generally, and at the end of October, start of November, not so sure. I mean, Stan showed he can still mix it with top 50 players. He beat Kecmanovic in Basel a couple of weeks ago. Lost a close one against Ruud. The match after that. As I said, then he went over to Bratislava, played the challenger there, lost to the inform, won his first round, lost to the inform Collignon. He's playing some super tennis at the minute. And the numbers just add up for this bet. Stan has won at least a set in 10 of the 15 matches he's played this year against top 100 opponents in best of 3 matches. And he's won the opening set 8 times from 15, which is 53%. We're getting +135. About this, so that it makes mathematical sense. Van der Zandschulp, he remains this enigma You know, he hasn't won back-to-back matches at any tournament since he made the final of Winston-Salem. Since then, at main level, he's gone 2 wins and 5 defeats. And we saw that with Van der Zandschulp after he lost that terrible Munich final when he had so many match points and he was so far ahead and he managed to lose it to Rune. That took him probably about 18 months to recover from that. And while this wasn't quite like that, it still seems like it's knocked the stuffing out of him again. And Van der Zandschulp's lost more opening sets than he's won in 2025. He's won 25 opening sets and lost 32. So he's on a negative on that. A set one to Wawrinka, as I say, plus 135. That represents a 43% chance, the layers are saying. And the results are showing he's winning 53% of the time against this kind of level of opposition in best of 3 matches. So it makes sense to me. A plus 135 stand to win the opening set. He'll probably win sets 2 and 3 just now, just to make it awkward for me. But mathematically, it makes sense.
And that match tomorrow, we know the time of it. It's 11 a.m. Eastern time. So you've got loads of time. Get up in the morning. If you have a bet on it, you can bet live and watch live with Bet Relivers. Live stream that match as well. The action starts at 7 a.m. as well. So, but this one's a little bit later game. It's 11 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. An evening game over in Athens. Now we have a secondary game. Marcus Giron against Pedro Martinez. Marcus Giron is a very heavy favourite here with Bet Relivers minus 480. Pedro Martinez is plus 350. Spread 4.5. Total 20.5. What is the head-to-head tell us? Not really
nothing.
Telling us much, really. To me, nothing at all. So, Sean, tell me what we got to do here.
This is probably top 3 worst selection of round 1 matches that I've had this season. But there are always angles.
There's been a few. There's been a few.
There have been a few. This is right up there. I mean, several of the ones I wanted to talk about started today, which didn't help.
Did they win? Did they win?
They haven't played yet. They're still.
So what are they? This might go live. What have we got?
Well, one of them's playing now, which was Cazaux. Can you believe Cazaux was put in at plus 175 opening show? Arthur Cazaux against Mannarino. He started 1.6. I'm not sure what the score is at the minute because they're playing right now, but that sort of thing. But we can't talk about that because they're playing right now. So. That was excellent value. If you got plus 175 about Cazaux against Mannarino. Mannarino's shocking record in Metz, absolutely terrible. He'll probably have won this match by the time this goes out. But anyway,
how can he possibly have been plus 175?
I don't know, but he was.
He's minus 435. He's going with serve. I mean, it's insane.
He was plus 175 in the opening show. Okay. Anyway, so where are we? Yeah, Giron against Martin. I mean, you would expect Marcus Giron to win. If you're just sort of not really thinking about it that deeply, you would think, yeah, Marcus Giron, indoor hard against Martinez, clay guy, you know. But neither of these guys are in any sort of form at all. And Martinez, you know, his season's not over. He's got Davis Cup in a few weeks for Spain. You know, he needs matches, he needs wins to build up his confidence. And he's been struggling with injury for a little while now. Had another medical timeout in Paris for a thigh or hip issue there, and I just think that's why he's been struggling for form. He had a knee issue recently as well. But if he's fit now, he's certainly motivated. We know that because he's got Davis Cup on indoor hard coming up. So he needs matches, he needs wins on this surface, and you can't really write him off because he beat Holger Rune and Bautista Agut on indoor hard in Rotterdam earlier this year. Made the quarterfinals there, lost to Alcaraz. You know, so. It's not true that he can't play on indoor hard. You know, he certainly can. Giron, on the other hand, has been fit, so he hasn't really. Well, he hasn't said that he isn't. He has been fit, and he's been poor for a lot of the year. Hasn't made a semi-final all season. Marcus Giron lost 6 of his last 7 matches. You know, the season has just petered out for him. You know, and he doesn't really have anything much to play for here. 55th in the world, I think he is 65th in the world. He's got nothing really to go for. No Davis Cup, nothing. I would imagine he's just looking at his flight home or wherever he's spending the off season. All things being equal, you would expect Giron to win, but he can't be in a good place at the minute. The results he's had recently, and what's the motivation? Martinez is the one with the motivation, so I would maybe have a little dribble of pizza money on Martinez at a big price here, plus 350. Wouldn't be a surprise to me if Martinez won and Giron was a bit end of season.
So not an official play, but Martinez at plus 350 is a bit of pizza money. Now, our final match, I pretty much guarantee you where we're going to go here, because obviously we've got Majchrzak to win the tournament. How can you?
I'm not, but there are other markets.
Okay, well, Kecmanovic has a 3-1 winning head-to-head over Majchrzak, which will overturn that. Indoors, both of them being pretty poor. Money all day has come from Kecmanovic with Bet Rivers. He's like plus 100. He started up at plus 115. So there has been money from him. Both of them haven't been in great form. We've got Majchrzak to win the tournament. So there is a couple of markets there, but Bet Rivers over 60 markets on this match. So where is the value on the other markets? We are Majchrzak to win it, so we expect him to win, but what else we got?
Well, I hope he's going to win. I mean, this is a very, very tight match. I mean, I fancy Majchrzak, if he wins this match, to go deep in the tournament. But should he be this price? I'm not so sure that he should. It just feels very short to me. I think he was actually slightly shorter than this before. Probably corrected slightly.
Money. There's more money. Kecmanovic. People want to bet Kecmanovic.
Yeah, I can see why. If I just put the outright aside for a minute, then I can't see any value in Majchrzak here at minus 122. I mean, I was right last week when I said about Kecmanovic losing 2-1, and it was to Cerundolo, and that did come in Paris last week, if anybody took that. And, it happens so often with Kecmanovic. If you are wanting Majchrzak to win, which I am, then the 2-1 is definitely the way to go here. I mean, Kecmanovic is, again, like Van der Zandschulp, very kind of sullen, kind of moody character a lot of the time. I'm not sure I've ever seen him smile, Kecmanovic. Racking my brains, I'm not. Maybe he has when he's been given.
I don't know how you can have the audacity to tell people to not be miserable. You're the most miserable man I've ever met.
I'm not playing professional tennis and earning millions and millions of pounds a year. That's the difference.
Even if you did, I don't think you'd smile.
I think I would. I would. If I was playing out there in the sun and winning tournaments, oh yeah, definitely. Not
in an indoor tournament in Athens or this time of the year.
Probably not there. No.
I don't know.
I'd withdraw.
You'll be great. You'll be great in the American swing or the Middle East swing. But I'll be fading you like anything I possibly could when it comes to this European.
I'm very much a fair weather.
You're out.
Fair weather competitor. That is for sure. I don't play golf unless it's 20 degrees or more. Not doing it. Anyway, where was I? I was talking about Kecmanovic, wasn't I? And his general sullen. He's more sullen than me, Kecmanovic. At least I have a laugh and a joke. I can't see him being that kind of guy. Anyway, I mean, the head-to-head suggests he should be a decent favourite here. 106-94 in favour of Kecmanovic in terms of service points won and return points won totals. 20-25 at main level on all hard courts. Tiny advantage to Majchrzak, only tiny. 101.5 is his total compared to 101 for Kecmanovic. So very, very slim advantage there. But I'm just not sure where the minus 122 comes from. Kecmanovic, I think it might come from this. Kecmanovic is only winning 47% of matches versus 54% for Majchrzak, even though they've got very similar statistics. And that is due, as I've said several times, to Kecmanovic losing so many tight matches. I talked about last week the ATP under pressure ratings when I was talking about, I think it was Shelton and Rublev, in fact, I think it was. Given that there's 83 players in these rankings, what rankings do you reckon Kecmanovic is in that? And he's not 83.
He is 72.
He's close. He's 79. He's 79 out of 83 in the ATP under pressure ratings. I know this isn't exact science, but it's what you would expect, of Kecmanovic. He's lost 13 of his last 20 matches that have gone to a deciding set. So just forget about the outrights for a minute. I certainly couldn't back Majchrzak at minus 122. I think he'll probably be he will battle for this harder than Kecmanovic will this particular week. So the 2-1 is very interesting there at plus $3. That is Bet Rivers for Majchrzak to win it by 2-1. It's a fairly typical thing that happens to Kecmanovic. And this last late stage of the season, I can't imagine he's going to be suddenly finding some kind of fight from somewhere.
Well, let's hope he gets 2-1. Let's hope he comes through the draw, because we're on him at 50-1.
Yep.
it doesn't fill me much confidence. You say, Majchrzak minus 122 is a bit of a short price, but we're betting him at 50-1. But let's hope he comes through 2-1. There's a bit of an angle as well. There's loads of markets with Bet Rivers, and all you have to do is download the markets. And if you like what you hear on as well, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter and our Insider. The Betting Weekly newsletter comes out every Monday, so tomorrow morning it'll be delivered into your inbox, and the Insider comes out on Friday, and it's all for free at bettingweeklystudios.com. Now, we have a second tournament this week. It's over in Metz. And really, I mean, this is another one. I mean, it's hard this time of year, very, very hard. We make our excuses a lot of the time. But this one's really, really difficult. We have a draw here where we've already had only 3 seeds at the top 4. One of the top 4 seeds is actually retired, so pulled out already. So we only have 3 of them going through to the draw. But what have we got in Metz, Sean? Because I need some inspiration. I need something to get excited about. What have we got for here?
I'm not sure you're going to.
No, thank you very much.
You're going to find it in Metz.
Okay, that's been it for Betting Weekly Game Day Match today. Come on. We need something. I
can tell you quite a lot about this tournament. I can even give
your mate can't be there as well as Athens, surely.
He isn't, but we've got a lot of history about this tournament. It's been around for a long time. I haven't got anybody on the ground in Metz. Not that I know of anyway. Somebody might pop up, you never know. This tournament's changed quite a lot in terms of conditions and when it's been played. Lately, sort of in recent times, it's kind of been the same as the trend. Pretty slow conditions. Quite bouncy. It was last year anyway. Tiny bit of altitude here, 167 meters. Now I've got the exact ball here. There it is.
There it is. Look at
that.
Look at that.
That's
it.
Anyone see that? That is the Kecmanovic All Court Pro, which, as I'm sure you know, is a ball from Decathlon, which used to be called the Artengo Comfort Pro. And the reason I've got that ball is because Lagan stole it from the tournament that we've been to in Umag. They use the same balls there. They also use them in Gestad on the clay, but they're not universally popular balls. They're pretty slow. So that's the ball that they use. They average in the 4 editions since COVID. It averages 81% hold, 72% first serve points won. Kind of medium-ish, medium slow. Tie break matches 49%. That's all right. That's about average. Nothing to say about the overs or unders. It's exactly 50% over under 22.5 games. Set 1 over 10.5 games averages 35% in the last 4 editions. So you'd want odds of plus 186, 2.86 if you want to bet on that particular market. And This is not great statistic. There are only 4 underdog winners here in the entire tournament last year, but 13 the year before, and it averages 33% since COVID. And the underdog profit and loss is last 9 editions. If you'd bet every underdog for $10, it'd be minus $200. Now we've got some pretty all right trends here. 6 of the last 9 winners have been French. 4 of the last 7 winners were priced 25-1 or bigger. 6 of the last 7 runners-up were priced 20-1 or bigger. And in the last 6 editions, qualifiers have made at least the semi-finals 4 times. Benjamin Bonzi winning it as a qualifier last year. That's what we've got.
They have it. So we need a French winner. We need someone... Is it impossible?
If possible, yeah. If possible, French, yeah.
That's what we want. There's a few French players in the draw. If we look at the draw here, the seeds. Now, I see in my seedings here that obviously the top 4 seeds get a bye through to round 2 on the 250s.
Yeah.
And we have Felix Auger-Aliassime, who needs a win. He needs to do well. Obviously, as Sean said in the top of the show, in a race for Mercedes for the race for Turin. He's up against Kaboli in the top half of the draw. In the bottom half of the draw, we have Alexander Bublik, and we have a lucky loser because the number 2 seed, who was the number 2 seed? Medvedev's out. Yeah. Medvedev's out. So Medvedev is out this tournament. So we have no Medvedev in this tournament, and that opens up a little bit of a bit of value in Q4.
It does.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that's my Sean might be heading for.
You're right.
So let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at the outright markets. Felix Auger-Aliassime is 3-1. Bublik is 4-1. Artur Greenwich 14. Mute 14. Kaboli 14. Manarino 16. Cam Norrie 16. Sonego 16. Talon Greek Sports 16, Matteo Berrettini 20, Empechi Berigard 22, Lerner Tien 22, and Blocks 25. So there is a little bit of value in that bottom half of the draw. Now I think, just judging by where you are heading, I think your winner comes from the match between Berrettini and Halys.
Nope. I mean, it might.
Okay, right.
It might. The winner might come from the match between those two. I'm not going that way, but it wouldn't be a massive shock if one of those. Well, I think the thing with Halys, I'll talk about him again in a minute. He has been struggling for form. Berrettini, clearly a proven performer over the years on indoor hard. Wouldn't be surprised at that. I think there's been a withdrawal here. Greek Sports out, so he's gone. He's withdrawn actually, so he's not on the list anymore.
It's unbelievable this time of year how many withdrawals. You know, you spoke about it last week how many withdrawals, but even today we've had so many withdrawals. And also I think I didn't even mention at the start of the show the tournament has actually started. Both of these tournaments actually started, so it's another crazy time of year really.
Yeah, I think they've done this because of the tour finals in Turin, which according to my calendar starts a week today. So they're doing the finals on the Saturday, and they like to have a couple of matches on the Sunday. But for me, I think the clear value here is on Lerner Tien. As you said a few minutes ago, in that fourth quarter of the draw. Going back to Felix, I'm pretty sure he's not going to finish this tournament. He's in the top half. He's only got to make the semis, and then he can do what he likes after that, and you can't.
And we saw that in the women's draw when Rebecca played the tournament before. She got to the semi-finals before the Tour Championship. She got her points and she was done. Yeah, that was exactly what happened.
And you would, I would, if I was in that, I would do that if I was in Felix's position. You got to the semi-finals. Why exhaust yourself with another two matches when you don't need to? I know it's kind of etiquette and stuff, but a lot of people aren't going to do that. Just thinking about Tien, left-hander Cam Norrie made the final here last year. It's going to be slow, bouncy. I think those conditions are fine for Tien. I don't think that's a problem for him at all. And now that Medvedev's pulled out, I don't think these odds are really taking into account the fact that Medvedev has pulled out. I mean, Tien is heavily favoured to win his first round match against Blanchet. Having said that, he'll probably lose, but he is a very heavy favourite to win that match. And then after that, you get a qualifier or a lucky loser because of Medvedev not being there. Then, if it goes to seeding, he would face Moutet, who's played an absolute ton of tennis, and Tien has beaten Moutet in two of their three clashes. So you would fancy Tien there as well. An additional factor is that the motivation that I've talked about with some of these players, because he can make it into the top 32 and be seeded for the Australian Open, Tien. In order to do that, he's got to go pretty deep here. So there's an obvious motivation factor there, which isn't there for a lot of these other guys. Interestingly, I think it probably is for Moutet. So if that clash happens, Tien against Moutet, I think that'll be very interesting, and it would go a long way to seeing who's seeded for the Australian Open. His form is good as well. Tien made a final, obviously at 500 level in Beijing, not so long ago, a few weeks ago, and his only losses in his last three tournaments came against Medvedev, which is a match he should have won, incidentally, a Yannick Sinner and Andrei Rublev. So he's only losing to the best. So given his draw, given the fact that Medvedev's pulled out and he won't have to play another absolute war with Medvedev, I think 22-1 is, anything over 20-1, I think is pretty decent about Lerner Tien this week.
Lerner Tien. Interesting thing, because we started the year on the Betting Weekly Insider with a picture of Lerner Tien. No one really knew about him. We sort of done a Challenger Tour thing, and it'd be lovely to end the year with Lerner Tien winning this tournament. So it must be in the stars. Lerner Tien at 22-1. A great player, a great prospect, and this time of the year you can get those kind of shot winners. So 22-1, Lerner Tien is our bet in Metz. Now we do have one match we are going to delve into, and it's the match between the one I thought, because whenever Sean puts a match up, I always think to myself, he likes the dog here.
It's a fair assumption.
And I was thinking that the reason he's put this match up was he thinks he might go on deep in the tournament, because he's not going to take much winning if you win the first round. And also my eyes are always judged to when Sean puts a dog like a big dog like Quentin Halys against Matteo Berrettini. In this match, Matteo Berrettini is -295. Quentin Halys is +225. Spread here is 2.5, total 23.5. Lots of different markets available on the Bet Rivers website. Let's have a look at their record. What's their? I'm going to try to find. I'm a bit behind you. 1-1.
1-1. Yeah.
One win apiece. But Halys won on a quicker surface, and Berrettini won in a final in Gestard, which was probably a bit of a slower surface. But what do you make of this? I mean, this is where I thought you were going. I thought you can get Quentin Halys winning this match at 225. And then we can get him at like a big price, and we can go all the way deep to the final in the bottom half of the draw.
That is a very fair assumption, because that is what I normally do. However, this, as I said, these selection of round one matches are not great. I think even if Halys does win this match, he'd probably have to play Moutet in the next round. That's tough. He'd have to beat Berrettini, he'd have to beat Moutet, then he'd probably have to beat Tien. I think that's a difficult route for Halys. He has cost me a few times this season, Halys. His form hasn't been great. This could be an opportunity for him. He got a bit of confidence back in Paris, where he only finished playing yesterday because he played in the doubles, got to the semi-finals of the doubles, I think, with Herbert. So he only finished playing there yesterday, so a bit of confidence. Berrettini, as you mentioned, that Gestard final, Berrettini won that final pretty easily, but Halys, you have to bear in mind that Halys was exhausted that day, having come from qualies to make that final. So we played 2 extra matches, and he only served at 44% that day, Halys, giving himself no chance, really. That's one of his main weapons, the serve. And it was also slower and cooler that day after the rain. That probably explains why it was 6-3, 6-1 to Berrettini. You wouldn't expect that with the way these guys played, the way they serve particularly. Obviously no such worries here with the weather, and as you said, the other time he faced Berrettini was in Berrettini's backyard in Italy in Futures, and Halys did win that. It was a very, very long time ago and probably not that relevant, but Halys will remember it. He has been an expensive follow, Halys, in recent times. I know we had a decent winner with him. I think it was over Munar in either Gstaad or Geneva, I think it might have been. But he's really struggled since making the semis again as a qualifier in Dubai back in February. He hasn't won completed back-to-back matches since, which is surprising considering that he's had some decent conditions, the grass and the indoor hard. He's also struggled playing in France lately in singles. He's actually lost 7 of his last 9 completed matches in France at all levels. I'm assuming that he's had some sort of injury, some sort of minor injury that isn't bad enough for him to stop, but isn't really enabling him to play at his best, because when he's firing, he's so dangerous in most conditions, but indoor hard suits him very well. No elements, he can go for it. Moving on to Berrettini, he's had obviously his usual injury-affected year. Didn't play at all from Wimbledon to Hangzhou. What would put me off betting him outright here would be that he looked very tired after 2 matches in Vienna. Then he played de Minaur, and his legs had gone. But he needs match time because he's another one. He's got the Davis Cup coming up, and he absolutely loves the Davis Cup, Berrettini. That's where his best tennis has been played recently. Big Davis Cup guy. And that, I think, will assist him to winning this match. But if you are betting in this encounter, I'd be taking a bet builder here. Berrettini to win it, I think he'll just be too strong for this current Halys. But over 22.5 games, the bet builder will give you plus 138 there. I think that's the way to play this. I think Berrettini will win it. Set 1 over, set 1 tiebreak is also an option, given how these guys play. But yeah, that's the way I go. I think Berrettini will get through, but Halys will put up a fight.
Yep, Berrettini to win the match, over 22.5 games, all available on the Bet Rivers app, and also downloading the app and also on the website as well. So there's lots of bets there, lots of interest there on our final preview of the regular season here on the ATP Tour. So Sean, give us your recap of all your official plays. We've got some leans as well, but what are your actual official plays?
Yeah, is the outright official or not official?
I don't think we can. I genuinely don't think we can. So I think we have to. I think we have to stick with the bets. But the last time we had this scenario, Caboli won, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
So we're marking the card for people to go on. Obviously, the tournament started today, so we can't actually put the official plays. But we've given you some unofficial, but just round them up because I think people can still bet them. Subscribers can still bet them. But I think our official plays have to be the matches.
Okay, so the outright in Metz then that we just talked about, for me, that it won't be an official play, as you said, but the bet there is each way on Learner Tien at 22-1, I believe he was. Athens, we've got an official play on the match, which is our old friend Stan Wawrinka to win the opening set against Botic van de Zandschulp, plus 135, that is, with Bet Rivers. And the outright, which as you said, can't be an official play, but it's 50-1 each way about Kamil Majchrzak.
Yeah, unfortunately, obviously the tournament starts. It's really, really unfortunate, really, this time of year when things sort of happen with the time difference we have and various different complications we have. I know people said, "Oh, what these guys are only speaking about these matches," but unfortunately, it's what we have to do. I'm afraid. But anyway, that has been it for our final regular season preview of the 250s this week. If you want to follow me, unfortunately, Sean said at the top of the show he would like to go. I'm actually going. I'm going to Athens tomorrow. So you can follow me on our socials at Because We Win. I'm sure you'll see me having more than one Magnus, but I drink my meals, as Simon Holden says. We have 4 or 5 meals a day, but we will be on that show tomorrow. So you can follow that, and obviously Betting Weekly Live returns on Monday through to Wednesday. We also have a massive week of Champions League action as well on Betting Weekly Live, Betting Weekly Tennis Live. Monday through to Wednesday, Betting Weekly Live through to Monday to Friday, and also Betting Weekly Live as well. US as well. Lots and lots of content coming your way here on the channel. The tennis season is coming to an end. We have the Tour Championships as well. We had a good week on the WTA, the WTA Championship as well. And also, all you have to do is follow us on the socials and subscribe to the YouTube channel at the Betting Weekly Studios. That is it for today. We will be back on Tuesday. We're back on Wednesday as well to preview some more matches. We've got more stats. What's your mate's name again?
Nick.
Who's your mate?
Nick.
I'm going to find Nick. I'm going to get a selfie of Nick. I'm going to put it on the Instagram account. I'm going to find out what Nick's got to offer. And we'll see you all again on Tuesday. Take care.